We left off on page 8. Okay? And today, inshallah, we'll talk about the subject matter of tayammum. Tayammum. Okay? Tayammum. And tayammum is the subject matter of using dry dirt when you do not have water. When you do not have water to use to make wudu, there is a sunnah that you can apply, which is the using of the water, the using of the dry dirt, clean dirt to make wudu. Tayammum is the sunnah of using clean dirt or clean dust to make wudu when no water is available or the water is scarce. When there is no water available or the water is scarce, meaning that the water is shortage of supply, meaning that we're using this water to drink, to cook and so forth and so on. So if we use this water for wudu, it's going to mess up our supplies. So if there's no water available and the water is scarce, then we use the sunnah of tayammum. So inshallah we're going to find out what tayammum is, how tayammum came about. Narrated by Aisha, radiallahu anha, she said, we set out with Allah's Prophet, sallam, on one of his journeys till he reached Al-Bayda, or Daltul Daish. A necklace of mine was broken and lost. Allah's Apostle, sallam, stayed there to search for it, and so did the people along with him. There was no water at that place, so the people went to Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and said, don't you see that Aisha, radiallahu anha, do you not see what she has done? She has made Allah's Apostle, sallam, and the people stay where there is no water, and they have no water with them. Abu Bakr came while Allah's Apostle, sallam, was sleeping with his head on his thigh. He said to me, you have detained Allah's Prophet and the people where there is no water, and they have no water with them. So he admonished me and said what Allah wished him to say, and hit me on my flank with his hand. Nothing prevented me from moving because of pain, but the position of Allah, sallallahu Apostle on my thigh. Allah's Apostle, sallallahu got up when dawn broke and there was no water. So Allah revealed the divine verses of tayammum, so they all performed tayammum. Usayd bin Hudayr said, O the family of Abu Bakr, this is not the first blessing of yours. Then the camel on which I was riding was caused to move from its place, and the necklace was found beneath it. So the subject matter of tayammum came about when they were traveling with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu, and Aisha radiallahu anha, she had lost a necklace. So when they lost the necklace, they were searching for it, and thus they didn't have any water with them. So Aisha radiallahu anha, she said that her father Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he admonished her, he hit her on her flank, and that nothing prevented her from making a noise except that the Prophet sallallahu was on her thigh. So after this situation, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the ayat with regards to tayammum and the using of dirt. We read in the hadith narrated by Abdul-Rahman bin Abza. A man came to Umar and said, I became junub, meaning I was sexually defiled, but no water was available. Amr bin Yasir said to Umar, do you remember that you and I became junub, meaning sexually defiled, while both of us were together on a journey, and you didn't pray, but I rolled myself on the ground and prayed. He heard about the verse of tayammum, which means to clean yourself with dirt, so he threw himself on the ground and started rolling around on the ground on the dirt. I informed the Prophet ﷺ about it, and he said it would have been sufficient for you to do this. Then the Prophet ﷺ stroked lightly the earth with his hands, and then blew off the dust and passed his hands over his face and his hands. So there was a man who was junub, that was in a state of sexual defilement. And then there's an ayah in chapter 5 verse 6, so write this ayah down. In chapter 5 verse 6, this is the ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands the doing of the wudu. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if you do not find any water, then do tayammum. Find some clean dirt and wipe thyself. So the man who read this hadith, he did not understand the ayah and thought that it meant he was supposed to clean his whole body with dirt. So he rolled around on the ground in the dirt. The Prophet Muhammad corrected him and said, no, it doesn't mean that. It would have been better if you would have done this. So what he did was he tapped his hands on the ground, blew into his hands to get rid of the excess dirt. Then he wiped over the face and then wiped over the back of the hands. This is tayammum, and inshallah I'm going to read the hadith. So tayammum when you don't have water or there's scarce water, and you become sexually defiled, you aren't in a state of wudu, and you can't find water. You can get some dust or some dirt, but it has to be clean. It can't be wet. You tap it lightly, blow the excess out from your hands, wipe the face and the hands one time on the top of the hands, not the whole hand like this, just the top of the hand and the face. Okay, and I'll read the hadith. Okay, now the hadith. Yahya related to me from Malik from Nafi'i that Abdullah bin Umar and he was approaching Juruf. When they got to Mirbad, Abdullah got down and did tayammum with some good dirt. He wiped his face and his arms to the elbows, and then he prayed. So we have another narration in the Muwatta of Imam Malik that one of those who were the Sahabas, that they didn't just wipe their hands, but they wiped their hands all the way to the elbows. So this is also suffice as well. Wipe the face, the hands, which is the bare minimum. We also see from one of the Sahabas that one of the Sahabas wiped the face and the hands all the way to the elbows. Okay? One time. So all of this is correct. All of this is from Hadith. Narrated bin Amr, the Prophet ﷺ struck the earth with his hands and then passed them over his face and the back of his hands while demonstrating tayammum. Yahya related to me from Malik, from Nafi'i, that Abdullah ibn Umar used to do tayammum up to his elbows. So Abdullah ibn Umar, which was the son of Umar, when he made tayammum, he would go all the way to his elbows. So we follow the way of the Sahabas. So to use the hands, although it doesn't say all the way to the elbows in the Qur'an, but we use the example of the Sahabas because they were with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so both are correct. Malik was asked about how tayammum was done and what parts were covered, and he said, strike the ground once for the face and once for the arms and wipe them to the elbows. So there's many ways to do it. Inshallah, you can strike the ground just one time, blow the excess off, wipe the face, wipe the hands. Another way to do it, strike the dirt, blow off the excess, wipe the face, strike the hands again, wipe the hands. Okay? And when doing the hands, either you could just do the back of the hands or you could do all the way to the elbows. Okay? Both is correct. Okay? All of these are Sahih hadith, and some of these hadiths come from the Muwatta of Imam Malik. Okay? So this is tayammum. So how do we do it? We strike the dirt, the dust, earth, right? And it must be clean, right? Let's go Bismillah. Yeah, still say Bismillah. The same rule applies that you say Bismillah, right? Before you do this. So again, we still start off with the Bismillah. Okay? Tap the ground one time. Dirt, dust, earth. Some of y'all in the car, you got dust on the thing. You driving because you can make salat while you're traveling. Okay, that's a whole other subject. But if you find some dust, there's dirt or somewhere, you can do this. Okay? You tap it, blow the excess out, and wipe the face. So blow excess out and wipe face one time, then wipe the back of the hands one time. Okay? And again, you can do the hands or you can do all the way to the elbow. So again, if I'm in a state of sexual defilement, I need to make wudu. I can't find any water. The water is scarce, right? I only got drinking water. I don't want to use this water to make wudu. I strike the earth. I strike some dust. Maybe I might find some in the car, right? I tap it, blow the excess out, wipe my face one time. I can tap again, wipe the back of my hands, or all the way to the elbows. Or I can do it all just with one, blow, back of the hands, or all the way to the elbows. That's tayammum. You don't have to do your feet, okay? You don't have to do your ears, you don't have to do none of that. You don't have to do your nose, you don't have to do your mouth. Just the face, the hands, or all the way up to the elbows. That's tayammum, okay? Also, as the brother said, you cannot be lazy just because you don't want to make wudu. You don't want to go and clean yourself off. So you're like, man, I'm going to just use tayammum. It has to be a valid excuse, okay? Another valid excuse is that you're sick and you fear that you will hinder yourself by wetting yourself, okay? Because there was a man who was cold, he was sick, and it was cold. And he went and made wudu and he died from his sickness,
Okay? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said it would have been better if they made tayammum. Okay? We don't kill ourselves, and we don't hinder ourselves, and we don't harm ourselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said He made this deen easy. Okay? So if there's no water, or if the water is scarce, or if you're sick, or you fear that you will hinder yourself by wetting yourself, then you can use tayammum. Inshallah. Any questions on this? Okay? So this is tayammum. Okay? Very simple. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it easy. If we don't have water, okay, we can't do wudu in its proper sequence, in its proper fashion. Then we do tayammum. Okay? Strike the earth, wipe the face, wipe the back of the hands, or all the way to the elbows. All of that is correct. Any questions?